This happened to me last summer, and I still don't know how to explain it. I travel a lot for work, and I usually rely on Airbnb to avoid expensive hotels. I've had a few weird hosts before, the kind that seemed too friendly or lingered too long during check-in, but nothing compared to what happened in Asheville, North Carolina. This story isn't just creepy, it made me stop using Airbnb altogether. It started pretty normal. I had to be in Asheville for 5 days for a freelance photography job. I looked for a private stay and found a rustic-looking cabin, kind of secluded, but not too far from town. The pictures showed a cozy place with wooden interiors, fairy lights, a small porch, and lots of positive reviews. The host's name was Thomas, and he had a verified profile with a friendly-looking photo. The price was surprisingly low, $65 a night. The description said it was a solo traveler's getaway. Perfect. I booked it. Thomas messaged me back right away, thanking me and saying, "Feel free to message me if you hear anything odd. The cabin's old, and sometimes the wood creaks. Nothing to worry about." I should have known right then. I arrived late in the evening. It was about 9:30 p.m. The cabin was a bit deeper in the woods than I expected. My GPS lost signal about half a mile out, and I had to rely on Thomas's written directions. The place was cute, yeah, but something felt off. There was no keypad, just a normal key under a fake rock by the steps. The lights were dim and yellow, and everything smelled faintly like mildew and burnt wood. Still, I unpacked, turned on a podcast, and made some ramen on the stovetop. That's when I noticed it. A door on the far wall that wasn't mentioned in the listing. It looked old. No handle, just a keyhole, painted over, like someone wanted to hide it. I figured it led to a utility closet or crawl space. I didn't think much of it, until I went to bed. Around 2:40 a.m., I woke up to a sound that I thought was scratching. Light. Repetitive. I paused. It stopped. Then it came back. It was coming from the wall, the same wall with the sealed door. It sounded like someone was lightly running their nails on the inside of the wall. Not an animal. It was too slow, too human. I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning I messaged Thomas. I asked if there were mice or raccoons, something that might be scratching in the walls. He replied, "No animals, probably just the wood expanding. Happens in summer heat." That smiley face again. I decided to explore the cabin more in daylight. I tapped along the walls. Everything sounded solid, except near that sealed door. It sounded hollow. I took a closer look and realized something. The wood surrounding the door had small scratches around the edges, like someone had tried to pull it open from inside. Night 2 was worse. Around 3 a.m. I heard it again. Not scratching this time, but something heavier. Thudding. Slow, dragging footsteps. Inside the wall. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. The footsteps moved from the door area all the way to the opposite wall, then back again. Then silence. I couldn't move. I just sat there in bed with my phone's flashlight on until morning. I wanted to leave, but I had work to finish in the area and figured I'd just sleep during the day. But night 3, that's when everything escalated. That afternoon, I set up my DSLR on a tripod facing the sealed door. I set it to record video just to see if I caught anything. It had night vision and decent audio. When I reviewed the footage around 5 p.m., nothing. All still. But around 3:12 a.m., the camera caught something terrifying. There was a faint click, like an old latch unlocking. The paint on the sealed door flexed slightly. Then slowly, silently, it opened about 3 inches. A pale hand, thin, almost grayish, reached out and gripped the edge of the door, then pulled it shut again. Frame by frame, I could see fingernails, dirty, cracked, human, then nothing. I didn't stay the fourth night. I grabbed my gear, got in my car, and left. I didn't even lock the place. Before I drove off, I messaged Thomas again. I said, "There's someone behind that sealed door. I have video proof. I'm reporting this." No response. Later, Airbnb messaged me, saying the listing had been taken down permanently. I tried to show them the footage, but by the time I went to transfer it from my SD card, the file was gone, corrupted, just static and glitching. I know what I saw, and I know someone was living in that wall. I still don't know who or what was behind that door. All I know is sometimes cheap rentals come with a hidden cost, and if you ever find a sealed door in an Airbnb, leave, because someone might be on the other side, waiting for you to fall asleep. This happened to a friend of mine named Daniel in late 2023. He was in his final year of college and had booked an Airbnb in rural Vermont for a solo weekend getaway. His only plan was to finish his thesis in peace, surrounded by snow and silence. But what he experienced was the exact opposite, and to this day, no one knows who was watching him. Daniel found the cabin through Airbnb. It had 5 stars, good reviews, and was hosted by a woman named Marcy. The pictures looked cozy: wooden walls, fireplace, bookshelves, even a loft. But the one thing that stood out to him even then, none of the photos showed any mirrors. He figured maybe the host just didn't include them. People are weird about showing reflections, he thought, so he booked it. The moment he arrived, something felt off. There was a weird humming coming from the walls, like the sound of an old fridge, but louder. He brushed it off. Long drive, tired ears. But once he walked through the hallway, he noticed it again. Not a single mirror anywhere. Not in the bathroom, not in the bedroom, not even a reflective microwave surface. He texted the host jokingly, "Hey, no mirrors, bad hair day." She didn't reply. That night, it snowed heavily. Daniel curled up on the couch with his laptop and hot cocoa. Around 2 a.m., as he was finishing up a page of his thesis, the lights flickered. Then, the humming stopped, all at once. The silence was deafening. No fridge noise, no outside wind, just absolutely nothing. Then, faintly, he heard breathing. He turned off the TV, listened again. Breathing, slow, heavy, labored, but it wasn't his. It was coming from the wall behind the bookshelf. He grabbed his phone and opened the voice recorder. As he approached, the breathing suddenly stopped. He banged on the wall. Nothing, not even an echo. He figured maybe it was a vent and went to bed. The next morning, Daniel noticed something bizarre. The bookcase had scratches, small, circular indents, like it had been moved, and on the top shelf was a thin slit in the wood, like a peephole. He pulled the shelf forward slightly, and behind it was a two-way mirror, a full panel. On the other side, darkness. He freaked out. He tried calling the host, no answer. He tried messaging her on Airbnb, nothing. The listing? Deleted, gone from his app history. Daniel drove to the nearest diner with Wi-Fi 40 minutes away and called Airbnb support. They told him the reservation existed, but the host's profile had been flagged for suspicious activity and taken down 2 days prior. Daniel was shaken but not reckless. He didn't want to leave all his stuff behind, so he decided to go back just for a few hours to pack. He arrived at around 5 p.m. Sun was going down. As he walked in, he noticed something new on the living room floor, a small black object, a lens cap. He ran to the bookshelf, moved it completely, and behind the two-way mirror was a tiny hole in the wall. Inside, a mounted GoPro, still recording. He ripped it out and checked the SD card on his laptop. It had hundreds of video files, all from inside the cabin, all of guests, and the most recent ones were of him. There were clips of him sleeping, clips of him showering. One clip showed him writing on his laptop while a pair of gloved hands slowly opened the bedroom door behind him, then closed it. Daniel packed as fast as he could. As he was leaving, a black SUV pulled into the snowy driveway. No plates, tinted windows. A man stepped out in a thick coat and ski mask. Daniel didn't wait. He jumped into his car, floored it in reverse, and tore down the icy road. In his rear view, the SUV started to follow. No headlights. He drove through the blizzard for 30 minutes before losing them on a back road. When he finally got back to town, he handed everything, the footage, the mirror photos, the camera, to local police. But here's the kicker. The police found no trace of the cabin when they returned. The GPS coordinates Daniel provided showed a clearing in the woods. Just snow. No structure. No foundation. Daniel moved out of state after that, changed his number. He still gets anonymous voicemails from time to time, just static or faint breathing. He's gone completely offline. He gave me the footage before disappearing. I watched one clip, just one. It showed a woman I didn't recognize, sitting on the same couch Daniel was on. The date on the footage? It was from last week. If you ever book a stay and notice there are no mirrors, trust your instincts. You never know who's watching from the other side.